Okay, we're almost done with the install. All we've got left is swapping some components from your factory switch to your new NSV switch. And this switch is complete minus these few panels here. We're going to take one of our panels, it's just a knockout panel here, and switch it over. We're going to switch our USB and auxiliary plug over, and we're going to switch our 12-volt cigarette lighter plug over. So the first step is to take one of these cigarette lighter plugs out, and they're both identical. I'm going to take this one because it has a nice door, and this door was broken on our truck. So to start, take the tabs on the side of the cigarette lighter plug and just pry them outward. They essentially just rest in little holes on the metal barrel of the cigarette lighter itself, and so it shouldn't be too hard to get them to move for you. There we go. Make sure that the door on the front is not clipped into that, or it won't let it slide forward. Pull that out, set off to the side. Now, on the top and bottom of this plastic piece here, there are two similar pins as well. And you can just take a screwdriver and press those in. And this assembly should pop right out, just like so. There's our door. There's our top and bottom pin. Just set that off to the side for now. Now we're going to take our knockout plug out, and there's just two pins, one on the top and one on the bottom. So you can press those with your finger. I'd start with the bottom one just because it's a little bit harder to reach. Pops right out. And the same story with this USB and auxiliary plug here. Once again, there's a plug on the, or a pin on the bottom, and a pin on the top. And there we have it. Now we can assemble our NSV panel. And to do that, start with the USB and auxiliary button, or panel. And that one goes nearest the NSV switch. And you should hear that click in real nice like that. Take our knockout panel, and that's mostly symmetrical, so that just kind of goes in and sits there. We're going to take our door and our plug-in housing here and install that. That should snap in real nice. Open the door, and you'll see a little indexing, like raised section of metal here, a little keyway. Just line that up with your plug. And that should also press in and click. If it doesn't click, it's not in all the way. You want it in all the way so that if you take your charger and yank it out, this piece doesn't come with it. Now, the final step on this switch panel is transferring all of these little clips. Without these, this thing will not fit. It'll just flop around, it'll fall out. You don't want that. So right back to using a pick tool or a screwdriver or anything like that. Just pry on it a little bit. They should pop right off pretty easily. And it seems like the yellow ones go on the sides and the white ones go in the center down here. There's 3 of these white ones and there's 4 of the yellow ones. Take the white clips, just press them right onto the NSV panel. And this panel accepts them like it's made for the truck. I mean, it's just perfect. It's amazing. Yellow clips on the sides. There we have it. Doesn't get any easier than that. And that's one nicely assembled switch panel. We're ready to throw this in the vehicle. Make our battery connections for the light bar, and this thing should work, and it should be really cool. So let's get to it. So I'm going to just go ahead and set this back where it goes, just so that I don't have to have it hanging where I'm working. But the next step before we can put the switch panel in is just taking our switch panel harness and routing it to where our switch panel is going to end up. So we're going to pass this over this little substructure here. We're going to pass this harness through this little gap here between the plastic where this factory harness is already running, and it's kind of tricky to get it there, but it does go. And the nice part is once you get one through, you can usually fish the rest of them through pretty easily. Don't pull on the plugs themselves if you can help it. Last thing you'd want to do is have one of them come off after you've made it this far. Alright, our harness is through. Let's make our connections. So now just match these harnesses, they're labeled, match them with the corresponding switch. So one switch, the far left switch says light bar. This harness says light bar, so we're going to make that connection. The next one is swipe. So there's our swipe harness. And strobe is the last one. Reconnect your factory wiring harnesses. Now I'm going to leave it like that for a second. I'm going to go reconnect the battery and make sure that all of our light bar connections are secure to the battery. And we're going to try this thing out and hopefully everything works just fine. So now we're going to make our underhood battery connections, and we're going to loosen this terminal. Take the little ground terminal that comes in the harness and just slide it down on there. Now, I did not attach this to the main battery terminal bolt and nut because that's kind of more of a high traffic area. The truck's probably going to need a battery or two in its lifetime, and if we can avoid ruining our harness by loosening and tightening that a million times, that'd be nice. So we'll go ahead and snug that up. Leave that disconnected for now. We're going to head over to the positive side, and this is a 12mm socket I'm using to loosen these. Loosen that. Plug the harness in. It's really straightforward. Red goes to positive, black goes to negative. You can reconnect the battery at this time, and that was a 10mm socket. This is a fuse holder for the light bar, and you can put this down in this valley here behind the battery, and you can zip tie it right to this battery post here, this little stud for securing the battery. That's just fine. It's not going to go anywhere. Alternatively, you can take, it does have a little hole in it, you can screw it to the fender, you can do whatever you want. Put it somewhere like down there, you'll never have to worry about it. Okay, so we're back in the truck, and the next and final step is to pop this switch panel back in. And to do that, you just kind of put it back where the old one was, and it'll find its little groove where those clips line up. And there it is. Now is a good time to just do a little final testing, make sure everything works properly. If it does, and it should, go ahead and reassemble everything. There's no tricks to it. Everything goes back together the same way that it came apart, and that's about it.